Hello, I'm John O'Hersey, and welcome to episode 11 of Taste Then Drink single site series. In this episode, we're going to be tasting a 2017 Domaine Alain Chavy Puligny Montrachet Le Charme. So, last week we touched base on Meursault and where that is in the world of Burgundy. So we're in Burgundy proper, which is regarded as the Côte d'Or. We're in the southern part of the Côte d'Or. We're in Côte de Beaune, which is predominantly known for its white wines. However, there are a couple of famous red wine villages, such as Puligny and Volnay, both of which you drive through if you're coming from Beaune, the capital of Burgundy. So Beaune, Puligny, Volnay, Meursault, which we tasted last week. Then, just as you're crossing the border into Puligny Montrachet from Meursault, on the left-hand side, you'll actually see the vineyard that we are going to taste today. Now, if we head into Puligny Montrachet has always had quite a bit of fame and has been quite sought after, like Meursault. So, as soon as you go into those villages, particularly compared to Puligny and Volnay, which have always been hit by hail and probably not as prosperous, the towns have beautiful marble streets, wonderful old buildings. Everything's kept up to a beautiful standard. You can't help but think that the villages sort of look like the wines, very mineral, and that'd be because most of the stone has come from, quarries, either in the hillside or in the Haute Côte behind, which share the same soils. Now, the vineyard that we are looking at today, Le Charme, Lescharmes, is on the northern border of Puligny Montrachet that abuts Premier Cru Le Charme of Meursault. So, with a lot of these vineyards, they're separated into either, Bas or Haut, or in this case, Dessous or Dessous. Dessous being the upper part and Dessous being the lower part. The upper is spelled D-E-S-S-U-S, Dessous, and Dessous is D-E-S-S-O-U-S. So quite often you'll see that on the Burgundy maps and that sort of thing, and can be quite confusing at times. So that sort of describes it. Now, Le Charme, which is of the three sort of premier Cru vineyards in Meursault, is the biggest and richest and falls down in the flats. Now, we talked about it last week. Perrier, which is Meursault's best vineyard, is higher up on the hill, more mineral. Then Geneviève, which is a combination of breadth and minerality. Then it goes lower on the hill of Le Charme, and that is split into two, Dessous and Dessous. And then it goes down to Le Pelon, which is the Meursault that we tasted last week, which is quite fertile soil. Now, we're on the Puligny Montrachet, so slightly more south, but we're slightly higher up on the hill. So it abuts Le Charme Dessous. Now, above it, on the Puligny Montrachet side, so a little bit higher on the hill, with a little bit more minerality, is Puligny Montrachet Premier Cru Le Refert, R-E-F-E-R-T-S. So you can sort of see a pattern in which we're drinking. These are village level wines, not Premier Cru, so they're slightly lower on the hill, and they have a little bit more richness in the soil, and probably a little bit less minerality. However, having a little sip of this wine before, you could be mistaken. So let's have a little bit of a taste, a smell. So straight away, it's classic Puligny. So classic Puligny Montrachet has this cloud-like delicacy, incredible florals, a preserved lemon, a little bit of salinity, wonderful struck match character, lemon oil, a little bit of orange pith, orange oil. On the palate, it's wonderfully fresh. It probably has a little bit more body and a little bit more fruit than the Meursault Boisson-Charles Le Pelon that we tasted last week. A little bit more puppy fat. The Boisson-Charles was a little bit more skeletal, and it was overtly aggressive. This still has quite a bit of structure, but it does have that little bit of puppy fat, a touch of bacon fat sort of wrapped around the fruit. Really quite lovely. Very good, actually. I'm enjoying it, and I'm thinking more than I look. It has a wonderful body. It has a little bit more orchard fruit, nashy pear than the Boston Char. Now, because this is nestled, so we've got the border. If we're looking south to north, so we've flipped everything on the side, because we want to look at Côte de Beaune like this. We've got Meursault here, Puligny Montrachet here, the border here, Perrier, Genévrier, Le Charme, Le Pelon. Then we've got Le Charme, the continuation of Le Charme Premier Cru Meursault, just in case you didn't work that out. Same name, different village, different status. Then Le Refer. Now, so it's surrounded completely by, not completely, 50% of it is abuts Premier Cru vineyards, and it's high on the hill and it sort of slopes down. So what happens is, as the limestone sort of slabs sort of drop away, and soil and a mixture of a stone and sort of clay increases, you still see the Le Refer, Le Charme and Genévrier character. So this is very much looking like a very much a Meursault Puligny Montrachet hybrid, and that's where you're getting the extra breadth. So if you go and have a look at Domaine Alain Chavy's Puligny Montrachet, just as Puligny Montrachet, it'll have more florals, less body, less structure, and more, quintessential sort of Puligny character. And that goes with Le Refer as well, the Premier Cru vineyard within Puligny Montrachet. It looks like a hybrid of Meursault and Puligny as well. Now, I'm going to enjoy the rest of the bottle. I have some terrine and a little bit of fresh bread, and I'm going to go find a nice place with a little bit of a view and enjoy the afternoon. I hope that you're all doing the same, and I will see you next week.